Great. Do you have it in stock? Because I kind of need it today. Yeah. No? All right. Well, I'm doing a recording where I interview people and then I post the video online. And I'm just kind of worried about one of my cameras. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a podcast. I guess. I hadn't thought about it. Well, I don't know if everyone's doing podcasts these days. I think that's a stretch, but your sister does? Okay, yeah. Well, maybe I'll check it out. So, okay, let's focus. I need a camera today because I'm worried about this other one. So how much is like a new basic digital camera? Oh, really? Okay. Supply chain, yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna risk it. I think this one's gonna be fine. So appreciate your time today. All right. Bye. Okay. Well, welcome, Ed Butler. Yes. This is Give It Up for the Band, Part 2, Episode number 2.
Nice.
Yeah. And, we usually have a subtitle for the episode. And I'd like this subtitle to be 6 Degrees of Ed Butler.
Isn't it supposed to be 7 degrees?
Oh, 7 Degrees of Ed Butler.
7 degrees.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because how long did you work at the Music Loft before we get into?
Jeez.
Decades?
Damn. Decades. I think it was 24 years or something like 24, 25 years, long ass time.
Yeah. So you can't, if you were in the Chapel Hill, Durham, Carborough area for those years, you can't not know Ed Butler. I mean, this is before internet catalogs, right? Before name your catalog, and definitely before Amazon. So we'll get into that. But that's how I know you. Yeah. There's that Ed Butler, and then there's also the musician, obviously the music maker Ed Butler, the drummer. And so we can talk about whatever you want.
Well, it's matter of fact, it's funny. I mean, you wearing that shirt and 89. Okay, so I think I was at the Carborough Loft where the Cradle
the Cradle is now.
Where the Cradle is now.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of you young Turks that were like a group.
Punks.
You, Stike.
Yeah, Ben Stikelether. Yeah.
Bogey
Bowles. Oh, my God.
Let's see. Tim.
Barnes?
No. Oh, and he played guitar.
Faraday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Tim and who else? And there were a bunch of you lug kids. And I'm thinking, man, they're high school kids? What the fly? Jesus. But you guys were cool. And I've kept up with at least you and Bogey. Stike I see on Facebook all the time, which is really funny to me because he's now. Well, you told me once before when I came over here the first time.
Yeah.
And I went, damn, Evans, this is a fucking nice place. And you said, I'm an adult, okay? That's what we do. We're adults.
I'm adulting.
All right. And I thought, oh, that's true. Because I know it sounds weird, but you were always a high school kid to me. But
I understand.
But that's not right. I know that.
But I understand.
And now your son comes up here. And
who's
like,
a high school kid.
Holy fuck.
So. Who's a high school kid.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, you're also adulting, Ed, and you have a nice house, and you moved to Raleigh, and you're adulting.
Matter of fact, the reason we moved to Raleigh was to be adults. We actually we made that a point.
Okay.
It's like Chapel Hill was like, okay, there's too many damn kids and it's too collegey. We
it's too transient.
Yeah. I mean, we're from real cities.
Exactly. And
so,
you're from Baltimore.
I'm from Baltimore.
And Rose from
Detroit.
Okay, yeah.
So we like real cities.
Yeah, I hear you.
So Chapel Hill is like, okay.
It's a village.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had nothing to do with it. So boy. God.
That's funny. So, Bogey, speaking of Bogey came over here and what did he say? You're living La Vida Domestica. I see you're living La Vida Domestica.
Look, he can't.
Yeah.
I actually called him not too long ago, and he was in the middle of juggling kids. He goes, I got to take one to somewhere, and I go, Dad, okay.
Yeah. It's fun. Yeah, Bogey. Yeah. Hey, Bogey. Miss you.
Dude, love you, man.
Yeah, Bogey's great. And Stike, I mean, yeah, that's funny. So, similar kind of perspective, I think of you as the Music Loft guy because, like I said, so I started taking drum lessons there, Larry Duckworth, and I was the kid, snot-nosed kid coming in there learning drums, and you guys were like the gurus. I mean, this was our community center, there was no online presence at all, and if you wanted to take lessons, you either went to a music store or you went to someone's house, right? So it was like the community center, and I just remember you as like the guy selling the drums, but also an older musician who, would pass along some wisdom every once in a while. Maybe not so much wisdom, but but he was a great drummer.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We love you,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your Christmas cards every year. You smiling son of a bitch.
Yeah, he had a great smile. Has a great smile. Yeah. So, but that's not right either because you've moved along and you're not in the music store, music retail business anymore. But that's how I remember you. You know what I mean? So, I know what you mean about perspective.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually came down from New York.
Okay.
I left Baltimore I was working at Baltimore Gas and Electric. My grandfather got me the job at Baltimore Gas and Electric.
I didn't know that.
BG&E. Yeah, because he worked there for years. And and I was just kind of, I wanted to study music, but my parents are old school and like, no, that ain't happening.
Right, yeah.
You're not going to do that. You need to get a business degree. Or you need to do, and I'm going, I don't care about that. No, we're not going to do, I went, fine. But music was always something that I wanted to do. And I started school and dropped out And finally they said, you need to get a real job. So
J-O-B.
J-O-B. And my grandfather, he took me down to BG&E, and it was actually really funny. And I still see that to this day. I remember going into the employment office, and he had retired from BG&E. And we're sitting there in the employment office, and there's all these men lined up, and the woman behind the counter's like, sorry, no opening. Fill this out, go away. Fill this out, go away. Fill this out, go away. And I walk up, and my grandfather walks up, and he pulls out his retirement card. George Barnes, retiree. My grandson here. He needs a job. And they went, oh, okay, Mr. Barnes. Hold on 1 second. Come on in the back.
Wow.
Walked in the back and said, so, what kind of work you looking for? Outside work or inside work? I went, outside, inside? Outside, reading meters, ditches, linemen. Or do you want to work in an office? And I went, office?
Yeah, it's cold. You are up north, right?
Right. I said, office. And they went, no problem. We'll start you at this place in the mail room. That's where everybody starts. In the mail room.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
thinking,
like in the movies. It really happens?
It really happens. And I thought, wow. And I thought, wait a minute. These people out there were trying to get a job, and they wouldn't even talk to them.
Yeah.
Grandfather says, I'm retired.
Yeah.
So it had its perks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But anyhow, so I was working there, and I eventually got on the service board, which was, that's where you work when people call, and you're the one who answers.
It's like the help desk.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
that's also a very, like in tech, that's definitely the entry level job. I mean,
God.
Yeah. Well, you saw, so you realize that this is a dead end, or this is not good for me to stay here.
Right.
That's
right.
That's great. A lot of people never get that realization. So.
Right. So I thought, you know what? I am going to do my music thing. But I didn't think I was a drummer good enough.
Did you start on drums? Because I always thought that.
I started on trumpet.
Me too.
I gave that
Me
up.
too.
I gave that up for a week
Yeah.
because it hurt like hell. I mean, what the hell?
Blow your
Oh man,
lips out too.
I mean, Louis Armstrong was and still is my hero. You know, so but I thought nope. Yeah. And I always wanted to play drums, but again, parents like, yeah, absolutely not. That ain't happening.
No. My mom said the same thing, by the way.
That's what parents. Jesus, we can talk about that in the store.
Yeah, that's for my therapy session. That's
yeah.
This isn't a therapy. Well, it can be, but.
But so and I played the violin, and I played that for years, and I played guitar, and that's what I really played for a long time. But I always wanted to do drums.
Yeah.
But when I started playing drums, I realized all the people that I knew who played drums went through band in school, and marching and whatnot, and took lessons and rudiments and the whole. And I just sat in the basement, listened to records.
Yeah, picked it up by ear.
And picked it up by ear. That was it. So I couldn't read. I just learned. So I never thought I was going to be a drummer.
Yeah.
So when I decided I'm leaving this and I'm going to pursue music, what I thought I would do would be study audio engineering, because I said that'll just get me in the music business, because I like the idea of working in a studio.
Right.
So I applied for Institute of Audio Research at NYU, and I got in. So when I decided I'm going up to New York and study engineering, I just kind of went, well, I'll save up some money. And I saved up $5,000. I sold my motorcycle, and I went, yes!
Yeah.
But $5,000 in New York City?
It's gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
It was gone. One semester, and I liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Because I realized that was a real school. It wasn't just, it wasn't one of those things where you go into a room and you start mixing bands. No, actually, the first damn classes were how to build a mixer, and from Jump Street. And it was a lot of math, but
engineering, right?
It was engineering.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, all the teachers were Bell Lab guys.
Bell, okay.
And I thought, wow.
And in New York too. I mean, that's where else better to learn that?
Right. And I thought, this is the shit. But then I ran out of money.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to school. I didn't know anything about loans or grants because I had no mentor or anything. So I ended up getting a job with HBO Manhattan Cable doing customer service.
Yeah. The cable guy, Ed, the cable guy.
And again, people called to complain. It's like, oh my God, this is horrifying. Matter of fact, they told me, you're going to get calls from people who you may have heard of, because it's New York City.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I went, yeah, but they're not going to call. They
have people to call, don't they?
I remember getting called a couple of times from Lionel Hampton.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
And you were like, can you please repeat your name? What was that again?
Well, yeah, but they cut off his service. I mean.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Yeah.
I know. And I was like, oh, God, always. It was like, oh, it was horrible. Anyhow, I was hating the job. It was good. I enjoyed New York. I loved New York. I had a great apartment. But a friend of mine down here was living down here, and he says, you need to come down here. And I says, no. I mean, what the hell do I want to come to North Carolina?
Yeah.
Because all I thought was Jesse Helms.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And black man, North Carolina, he goes, no. Chapel Hill's different. I went, no. He goes, come down.
Yeah.
Come down. And I went, well, he goes, look, there's a studio here. If you want to work in a studio, there's a great studio you can work in called Lloyd Street. I went,
yeah, Lloyd Street.
I went, really? He goes, yeah. I can get you a job here. My band, we record there. We can use an engineer. You would be the man. I'm thinking, well, what the?
Yeah.
So I came down to visit. It was 82. It was spring of 82. And the thing that I remember was one, I was hanging out with this girl in New York, Luz. She had never left New York City. She was totally Puerto Rican, New York. Never left. But I had money. I says, come with me. When I came down here, there were trees.
Yeah.
It was green. The girls were good looking. It was beautiful outside, but nobody was outside, right? Nobody was outside because I'm going, what the hell?
Yeah. Coming from New York and
Right. Why isn't anybody outside? And that's when I learned tourneys up.
oh, right. I was going to say
went-
82.
Tourneys up.
Yeah.
I went,
What a year
what
to
the
come
hell
down
is
here.
Tourneys up.
Yeah.
They went, dude, tourneys up. No one's outside. We're watching TV.
Yeah.
Thinking, well, that's crazy.
So March, was it March?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
Exactly. And so, the other thing is where I came from, in the hood, only people who were playing basketball were kind of thugs and
Yeah. Street ball.
street ball.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't organized.
Right. And I thought, and
entertaining.
I was not a sports guy at all.
Yeah.
But I had, I'll never forget, little white boys and little white girls, which you have to understand that was,
Yeah. Playing basketball, you mean, or just?
well,
or,
not only playing basketball, but can tell you about all these players and
Oh, right.
these stats. And
yeah.
I'm going, what the,
Yeah,
what?
it's a different world, different culture for sure.
Completely.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I moved down in July, and when I did, I ended up working at Owassa, and I worked customer service. I'm thinking, God damn it! Once again,
But at least $5,000 went further down here than it did in New York.
well, yeah, like I still had that money. No,
Well, you
absolutely
know what
not.
I mean.
Yeah, I know, but it did. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I ended up in a great house on Short Street, which was really cool with some great people.
Is that Chapel Hill or Carrboro?
Yeah, no, Chapel Hill.
Okay, Short Street.
It was on
Okay.
Short Street,
Yeah.
right there behind. About to say Colonel Chutney's, but it was Colonel Chutney's
Yeah,
back then.
yeah. It's Pantana Bob's for a while.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. And my friend Wes Armstrong, Scott Schwartzwelder, then eventually Rob Ladd. We all lived there. But I was working at Owassa, customer service again, and I freaking hated it. And one day, I just quit. I says, that's it.
Yeah, good.
I quit. And I remember leaving there, going to the Cradle, which at the time was on Franklin Street, where I'm going to say the comic book store is, I think. It was.
I don't remember. I just
Okay, so there was Fowler's grocery store.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. And
Yep.
if you're looking at Fowler's and then you go to the left, it was somewhere in that
okay.
group of buildings right
Yeah.
there. And I remember, and there was a El Morocco Club that had a bar in the back. And I remember going in the back, just sitting there. And a friend of mine came in, Chris Chalmers.
Oh yeah, Chris. Yeah.
I owe him everything because he said, dude, what's up? I went, I just lost my job.
Yeah.
I don't have a job. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're in a bar.
I'm in a bar. I'm drinking in the day.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, what the? He says, oh, well, you know what? You should get a job at the Loft.
Music Loft. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
He says, the Music Loft. What? He goes, I work there, but I'm about to go on the road with the DBs because I do their sound.
Oh, I didn't know he. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he
All
did
right.
that for years.
Wow.
He did that for years. He says, and Jay's going to be out of. I went, Jay. He goes, you met him. You met him at a party at Terry's place. There had been a party. Terry McInturf had this
Yeah,
party.
okay,
But he lived
wow.
out in the country.
Wow, yeah.
Right? And I remember going out there with Chris and somebody else, and it was the wildest shit. We're not going to go over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. We're trying to keep it PG.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it
maybe
PG.
R
Right.
right.
Right. But I saw things that I just, ooh, wow-wee.
Zowie.
I was kind of scandalized. He says, you met him at Terry's party. I went, Jay Miller, I don't remember. He goes, come on. Tomorrow, head on over to the Loft in Durham. He says, matter of fact, they're about to move. And
Okay.
they were on,
The corner, right?
well, no.
No.
They
Okay,
were
sorry.
on Perry Street, 9th Street, Perry
Yeah.
Street, upstairs.
Okay.
Or no, downstairs.
Yeah, I don't
downstairs.
remember that. I never went there.
Yeah, that was that. They were downstairs. And upstairs is Cosmic Cantina now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then Terry had a shop there. But He says, you should come talk to Jay. I went, well, okay. I don't know anything about a music store, musical instruments. He goes, you know how to, you're a drummer. You know me. I went, well, I'm not really. He goes, you should go over there. I went, all right. So I went over there, and I remember meeting Jay, Jim Dennis, and I don't remember who else was working there. But he says, I remember you. Jay was like, I remember you from the party. Yeah, Chris talked about you. I went, well, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what I can do. I've never sold anything at all, but,
Good interviewing skills.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. At least you were honest.
Well, I was honest. And I told him, and it's funny now I think back about it. After I'd worked there for so long, how many kids came in going, oh my God, I wish I worked here. How many?
Exactly.
I wish I worked here.
You guys,
I wish I could work.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like a dream. It was one of the jobs that as kids we could see ourselves doing. We could see another drummer, older drummer, who had a steady job, and you guys were watching video. You're watching that. I don't know, the Durham one. You were watching that Fleetwood Mac thing all the time. It's like you just sit around and watch
the dance. That was a damn good ass. That's a damn good ass live video.
I revisited that last year. Yeah. So it seemed like it seemed like a great job. You know?
I mean, but I didn't. I guess I took it for granted early on because I just thought, well, it's a job and I gotta sell stuff. And Jay's like, hey, you just talk about it. You just talk about it to people. Thinking, well, okay, and that's what I did. And I again have to give Chris Chammis the greatest thanks in the world because that just opened up my world to things that I had never had anticipated.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your gig life now, and really leading up to this too. We met a few times, and we talked more this year than I think we've talked in the last 5 years. Right?
I'm glad you got back in touch with me. I mean, because I was in a hole. But yes, go ahead, ask me anything.
I was too. Yeah, and I got to just say that playing with Sidecar Social Club, sitting in with you guys, was sort of the bookend to my COVID experience, because. And maybe I'm making up this story just to make this a more interesting story, but I really do feel this way. That was the first gig that I played where I felt like, okay, I'm back. Like this feels normal, because I haven't played that many gigs. I've done some theater gigs and one recording session, but that was a fun ass party gig, and it just felt right, and that was great. And at the beginning of COVID, I went out with Aaron Oliva, and Aaron was playing with. Sarah Shook and the Disarmers at the time, and the world was shutting down. I was supposed to go to Paris the week before. That had just been canceled. The window was closing. Things were shutting down. And we saw you guys, Sidecar Social Club, at Humble Pie. Do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
And during that gig, everyone's checking their phones. You could just tell. It was a weird vibe. And Aaron's gig was being canceled. Like, oh, there goes this city. And while we were watching you guys, and I remember. During the break, I'm like, Ed, the world's ending. You got to play us out. You better play a good next set, because like this. So anyway, that's the beginning of that. And so I feel like this party the other week is the end of it. So
wow, thank
you for inviting me to that. And,
man,
that was super fun.
It was actually, and look, when we went to see Old Ceremony the week before, that's the thing for me. I mean, I thought. Because I had never really, I'd seen them once. And and then just hanging out with you was just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And the COVID thing, God damn. Yes, that gig at Humble Pie was our last gig. And I actually had a gig that Friday, the 13th, with Shauna Tucker at Southeast Raleigh Elementary School. That was my last gig. That was the last one. And that was a great gig. The kids were freaking awesome. But then after that, dead.
So what did you do? Like, and this will lead into, we can watch this video that you guys did, if you want. We can talk about it. So were you still practicing? Were you doing remote? Were you trying to Zoom with people? We all figured out really quick you can't do that. It doesn't work, right? Like live. So yeah, what did you, I mean, I know that's we could talk for hours about that, but just.
Okay, so, so speaking of that old ceremony gig, when we were there prior to them playing, we were hanging out in the hallway, and I remember talking to Mark Simonson. And Mark asked me, so, let me ask you, Ed, do you practice a lot now, or do you wait until you just about have a gig and then start doing
have to practice?
Yeah, you have to. He said, because that's kind of where I am these days. I go, dude, yeah, I don't get up in the morning and sit there and I don't do that much anymore. I mean, it for a while I was playing so much, even though playing is not practicing. But if you play all the damn time, there's some gigs where you can work things out.
Exactly. During sound check, or you're playing a solo, or like, especially in jazz, you can work on your independence, and like, as long as you're not losing the beat, you're sort of practice. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I told him, I said, I says, no, I don't practice that much. I feel guilty saying that, but I says, I do it if I know I have a gig next week. Well, then I'll go out to the studio for a couple days. Yeah. And I'll work on my
your prep.
Do this. But otherwise, that's it. So when COVID hit, I went back into my little studio in the back, which, by the way, Nicholson helped me tune and set up. He was a good guy for that.
You still got that curtain I let you, the soundproof curtain? Is that in your wall? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks, Ed. That was I enjoyed that.
No, thank you. That was actually great. That was great. I liked how each of us played and walked around.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. Walked around outside to see if we can hear it and whatnot, and that was very cool. But, so I went out to the studio and just futzed around. Played with my little electronic stuff, messed with the computer, sat there and played, and just diddled. And then it just it was about ready to just die. And then people started saying, hey, can you record?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, I can. Hey, record a track for me. And matter of fact, set your camera up. I went, okay, I hadn't done this.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I did a bunch of those. And it was actually quite fun. My computer was old and tired, but...
Did you have that old Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My old MacBook
Is it old as
Pro.
this one? This one's probably a little...
That looks about, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping this thing's still working. I keep checking it. Oh.
Yeah.
It should be all
Matter of
right.
fact, that's the last bit. Actually, that software right there, that OS, that's really old. That's Sierra, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's, good Lord. Yeah, that's what I was running for a while. But anyhow, so, yeah, people would do that, and I went, well, hell. And I started like experimenting with mic placements because I never really messed with it. And I realized this was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you're going back to your engineer.
This is what I wanted to do. And I never really got back into it, but this was fun. And so, yeah, that was cool. That was actually.
How did you guys? So no one was calling me. No, I actually kind of laid very low, but I did a few of them on my own. And then I did one with my new job. Like, they found out I was a drummer, and they're like, oh, let's do this Foo Fighters song. And so how did you, and maybe I'll just play this Mr. Bill at some point during this. But so how did you guys set it up? Did somebody send you a guide track with the click track? Obviously, you guys were all playing to that. Did you? I mean, how did you do that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
people would just send stems and tracks. with a click track. I would always say, I want a separate click track and I want just a basic track, whatever I'm going to be playing
right.
to.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually kind of simple.
Yeah, my brother did a few. And you say it's simple. It's simple for us, okay? But let me just talk about my work experience doing this. And let me just make sure I don't, piss somebody off. But,
Yeah.
Let me just, okay, one example. We're going to do 12 Days of Christmas, okay? And we're going to rewrite the lyrics for some marketing stuff, and which is fine. It was cute. And of course, all of a sudden, I'm the producer, Okay, Evans, let's schedule a Zoom meeting. Everybody shows up. Everybody's thinking, somebody even said this. Okay, so we have a guide track. We have a karaoke track of 12 Days of Christmas, and we'll sing to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to get on the Zoom call, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, play, and everyone's going to hit play on their laptops, and we're going to record the Zoom meeting, and it's going to work out great.
Just like this. Play, click,
Yeah,
click, 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 click.
So I knew this was going to fail miserably. So I just went ahead and moved on to plan B because I knew that's not going to work, And so it took, but I just let them. And these are like VP. These are people that you don't tell it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So just that on the first day. Wait a minute. It didn't even take like 5 seconds for everyone to go, what is happening? You guys are off. Why are you so off? So, yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
Yeah. Matt, it's so funny. So at one point, we had this group, Jim, myself, Aaron, and Marco.
Yeah, okay.
Elm Collective. And there were some other people were involved in it too at one point, but it eventually came down to just the four of us. And we got this record deal. And we put out this record, which I'm sorry I didn't bring one for you.
You didn't bring the Lud one either, but we'll get it afterwards, and we'll get some of that in there, in here.
And as soon as we had the record deal, and as soon as we had it printed, next thing you know, Marco leaves state. He had been working at state and has to move to Houston.
Oh.
We're like,
Houston, as they say in Texas. Houston.
Houston. Yeah. We're going, what the? And we're like, oh, man, we put so. He goes, don't worry. Tell you what. And he bought this little box called a Jam Link.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Right.
Yeah.
He says, what we'll do, we'll just set it up at Ed's place, and then we could play, I can be in Texas, and you guys can be here. Now, remember I said about the internet at my place was like the worst. And I had the Cat 5 out there, but it
still doesn't work, though, because here's the thing, like, and this comes from my nerdy tech world, but there's 4 different places, and you guys all play at the same time. Well, if your internet is slow, there's latency, right?
Yeah.
It's got to go to this switch. It's a completely different path from all those 4 different places out to the internet and back down. And that has to happen like that. And, it's funny. I realize that music has no tolerance for that. Conversations do. And I don't know if that's an evolutionary thing, but if you're watching a movie or something and the sound cuts out a little bit, it's okay. You're back in the movie. Yeah. We do this all the time on Zoom. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But music, there's no tolerance for that. And so it has to be done live. And that's one of the things that I realized over, the break when I wasn't playing in here is that this is a live thing. This cannot be simulated,
Yeah. Well, and that's why, so doing those tracks, doing those videos, there was no way to do things live.
Exactly.
You just have to.
So that's simulated live. Of course, you can simulate it, but you have to be in the room, or you have to use technology like a click track or something to establish where it is.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Damn it, I'm on so many records, too. I think about that. There's records that I'm on that I've even forgot that I've been on. And there's every now and then I'll get a newsletter from someone and go, who is...
Oh, right, yeah, because they got your email like, hey, Ed, here's the album, and then, yeah.
And then they put out, little monthly emails, what they're doing. And I go, I don't know this. Oh, wait. Oh, I think I recorded with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or someone would say... I remember hearing you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, no. Okay. Yeah. Well, we've been on a few things together. One of the things about drummers in Western music anyway is that usually there's not 2 of them on the same gig. I mean, unless you're in Derek, was it Tedeschi
Truck?
Yeah, or percussion. I mean, do you remember there was one gig where we played drums together? Do you remember? Where we shared the drum kit. It's okay if you don't.
Remind me.
Okay. So I was having shoulder problems, and there were Mel Melton and the Wicked Mojo's gigs.
Okay.
That I was worried about not being able to play the whole night. Because, that was a tiring gig.
Yeah.
So we shared the gig at Blue Bayou, and you were playing percussion and I was playing drums because my shoulder was just killing me. And anyway, that was a gig we shared. And then we did... you played percussion. I was playing drum set on the pilot for Papa Mojo's Roadhouse. Remember that TV show?
Oh my God!
Do you remember that? I'm going to bring up as part of this video. I'm gonna show some of that. But yeah, we did a pilot for the cooking show where we would play and Mel would share recipes and cook.
See, talk about things you've done I've forgotten.
See, I'm here to remind you, Ed.
Your brain's a lot younger than mine. Well,
thank you. Or you've done a lot more things.
Okay, so moving right on here.
So what I remember about that was it was hot as hell in that place. It was definitely swampy, and it was roadhouse. It was supposed to be a roadhouse, and it was in almost Virginia, up there near the border, North Carolina and Virginia.
Right.
Yanceyville maybe, and
yeah,
hot as hell. They had to turn the AC off when we were recording because it was loud, and it was hot as hell. And I remember I learned one thing there is you drink room temperature water so you don't sweat as much. If you drink cold water, you sweat more because your body has to heat up the water, and you actually sweat more when you drink cold water. So.
Well, if you were here earlier this afternoon, we were cooking off stage outside on the veranda, and I had my good friend, renowned blues man, keyboard man, Mr. Bobby Hinton, come out there to help me do some cooking. Bobby's going to get up here and shake it out for you. Y'all, come on, give it up for him. Look out.
About 4 o'clock, she said, can you rock me all night long? said, can you rock me one more time? She said, rock me, big man, like the way you blow my mind. Come on now, son.
I think I was brainwashed into thinking that, I mean, I had a lot of early studio experiences where it was like, time. You're the timekeeper, you know, you're hired to, I mean, why don't you just get a drum machine, you know, like just, or why don't we use the click track? Let that keep the time. But again, going back to Lud, that was another band where it's like, Brian said, yeah, you do something that I like. And that's like, sometimes you're like, I'm not playing time anymore. Like you guys, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to mess around for a little bit, you know, and there may not be a one, you know, for a couple of measures, you know, there may not even be a backbeat. But if everyone else is, you know, understanding and feeling the time, that's not a problem, you know. But you know, as soon as if you're in a band where they're expecting this and you stop, you know, that you get people like, what, you know.
You know, that's I got to say this again, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Sparkling Rope's one of my favorite records ever, and you were the reason why. But it's also you and Brian. Now I have to. One. That fucking snare sound ruined me.
Thanks for
ruined me. Well, I gotta just say it. That's okay. Hold on. Let me talk about Brian for a second.
Yeah.
On that first song,
Immigration song.
Okay. Where, for example, when you just said he goes out of time, he does a little solo, a little fill. It's Vicky.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
Damn. But it fits so freaking perfectly. That album is like a great freaking record.
Yeah,
that's in one of my top 10 records. But and now I'll say this, that my hubris, I think, messed up for me recording Epifly.
Coming after, so it played in the Lud after.
Yes.
And then after
because and I had someone tell me, oh no, Ed, I think Epifly. Someone told me, and I don't remember who it was. I really like that album better. I'm going, no, I don't know.
See, I
don't know.
Yeah.
Sparkling Rope, and it's. I was trying to chase that snare sound, and you said that snare was still at the yard.
It was probably in
and
the back.
I wish I had used it.
You should have asked me.
Well, because I was thinking, no, this Manu is going to be. This 8 inches. That's me. This is my.
And when that's true though.
I know, but geez, now I listen. I go, oh.
No, it's that was a pearl, and it was maple, and it was a piccolo, and I tuned it way down, like it was low, so it was probably 13 by 4 or something.
I can see it. I remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly which drum it was,
and it was just low.
Yes,
and it was kind of it was honky a little bit, but thanks. That album is definitely one that I.
You should be very proud of.
Yeah, I like.
You should be very proud of. The first song on Epifly, "Work in a Restaurant," man, I mess up a beat and I hear it all the time.
It's funny you say that because
oh God,
the immigration song, Paul Price, starts the bass line.
Great Paul Price.
I know, miss him
Jesus,
so much.
I know.
Yeah. He starts the song, and it's faster than the song is. I'm not gonna It's my fault. Okay, I come in and I slow the song down. And now that's the groove tempo that I was hearing. It doesn't matter. He started at a tempo. I came in. I slowed down. So that's all I hear. The snare drum. Yeah, when the drums come in, it's like, bah, it's just smacky. You know, it's really smacky. But I slow down a little bit. So that's all I hear on that.
Isn't it fun? It's the first songs on the damn record.
I know. It's like you get the mixes back, and we're talking about the order. You're like, you sure you want to start with that one? Let's put that one in later. But I do want to play. There's one tune, I don't know the name of it because I haven't gotten it's probably up in my attic with my CD collection. Honestly,
yeah.
It's not on records like I have behind there. Or is there vinyl of that album?
Epiflot?
Yeah,
I'm almost sure there is.
I would love to get that because there's an instrumental tune on there. Da, 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 da. Is
that Boy's Life?
I don't know what it's called, but it's one of those dreamy instrumental. That is great. That's killer.
Matter of fact, what is that song? What is that song? Hold on a second. Hold on. Because I actually was just listening to it.
And you got the China cymbals, which I always borrowed your China cymbals because I never could buy them.
No, that's
no. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Not my turn. I love that.
And the textures that those guys got on guitar just blew my mind.
Oh, man.
Ed, is there anything else you want to talk about? What I want to do is first of all, thank you for coming out.
Oh, please. Dude, it was great. This is awesome. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't know. I could talk all day long, but, we don't have that.
Well, we have that. It's just that we just need to change tapes. I got tape rolling in the back. No,
is it 2-inch?
Oh, wow. Do you remember? Yeah, that was expensive. It's like, wasn't it? I mean, do you want the 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, or 2-inch? Here's the bill. Whoa. Maybe we'll just do the drums on 2-inch. You remember that? Or the horns. Let's just start with that and then move to digital.
I remember reading an article when, what was Gabriel's studio called? New World, when he opened his New World
Peter
studio?
Gabriel?
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
When he opened the studio, and at one point, trying to remember the session, it might have been his stuff for Passion or whatever, but they said they just put the tape on and let it roll and let it roll. And eventually somebody said, this is pretty expensive. He goes, that's okay, we can afford it. I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah.
To get to that point, to be to be that person.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, yeah.
So for the young kids, that's when you record onto tape. It's a reel. And that's why we say to tape. Let's look at the tape, right?
Right. Let's go to the tape.
Let's go to the videotape. Somebody used to say that, a newscaster or something?
Yeah.
Let's go to the videotape. That's great. Ed Butler.
Evans Nicholson.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, man. You know, I'm, you know, the other thing is, I have to say, we talked about it just briefly, double drumming. My dream is to do that at some point. I really, and you would be the person. I mean, you are like my doppelganger,
Right.
in terms of drumming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many people that I could think of that I know who I could play next to and be comfortable with. And you would definitely be the person. I wanted to do a cover up and, like, for example, do like Tedeschi tracks.
Oh, totally, man.
Well, you know, that whole thing is it's quick.
It's very quick. And 2 drum sets on that
Two
thing?
drum sets. Yeah, that's kind of, it's a pain, but at some point we need to do something.
And you know, I do
even
that.
if it's anything.
No, we need it. So I do that with Greg. I was in the Blue Dogs, the band the Blue Dogs, and there's a reunion show every year that we do, or that the band does, that I do often in Charleston, and we have 2 drum sets. And Greg and I have the same kind of understanding, and because actually, like, you learned my tunes for Lud, I learned your tunes, so there's common history, right? There's material that we've played together.
Well,
and that helps. You know what I mean?
And then we really didn't talk about the Mel history much.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I mean,
we're gonna have to do part 2.
yeah, that'll have to be part 2.
Wow,
And matter of
that's
fact,
right.
that actually might be X-rated. Some of us thought, because we couldn't really talk about that. I mean,
I forgot. I didn't forget, but there's so much. This is what happens when you know somebody for decades.
I know.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the Mel thing, which is,
yeah.
But see, it's just a matter of listening.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just, and that's, you have big ears and I have big ears, and it's just a matter of listening. So we should create something sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the hell, but something.
Yeah. Deal. I'll do it.
We got to do that.
We'll do it.
Okay.
One more thing we didn't discuss, Ed, is that traditionally I let the guest name the studio, only for today, though. It's not a permanent thing. It's just for today. So today, we've already talked about this. You're so ahead of the game. We've already, unless you want to change your answer, the previous guest, Robert, chose E Sharp Studios is the name of the studio. And by the way, this is a living room, but it's technically a studio because it has microphones in it. That's how it's.
And there's a drum set back there, ready to record.
That's right. That's true. Yeah. So, but your suggestion, which I think is great, is E's Sharp Studio, right?
Yeah.
E apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Sharp Studio.
Right. That's what I'm going for. That.
I think it's great. And of course, your name starts with E.
Well,
so it is.
I wasn't going to go there.
So, thank you, Ed, from E's Sharp Studio. Give it up for the band. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Love you, folks. You know, I don't set up a 5-piece much anymore.
No.
No, I've started doing 4-piece more than anything now. Even though I love the 5-piece. God, that floor sounds like